Painkiller!
What's up, everybody out there in YouTube land? Wrath2501 here. Alright, guys, so we have some Warhammer stuff for you. This is from Major Kill, okay? And he's talking about non-chaos aligned warp entities. Okay, that's interesting, because I did think that all warp entities were just chaos. I thought the warp was just chaos. Anyway, so let's see what he's got to say about this. Had to cut out an advertisement at the beginning, and let's go.
Each of the known non-chaos aligned warp entities, detailing how they came about, what their purpose or motivations are, and what abilities they have. Let's get into it.
Okay.
The first thing I want to note, which a lot of people are confused about, is that Chaos doesn't own the warp, at least not all of it. The warp is vast, hard to make a scale of, but it's also probably not infinite. After all, if it was infinite and Chaos didn't control all of it, then they would control 0% of it, if that makes any sense. The Chaos Realms are like a cancer in the warp,
if you're talking about
destabilizing it and making large swathes of it hostile and hard to travel through. But before the current setting where everything kinda sucks, before Slaanesh was literally sucking, the Eldar Pantheon controlled a big chunk of it, and even the Chaos Gods refused to challenge them. It was only after Slaanesh appeared, ate most of the Eldar Gods, and turned their realm into the realm of Slaanesh, did the warp lose its main bastion against the darkness. This brings us to our first non-chaos aligned warp entities, the Eldar Gods. The Eldar Gods were created by the Eldar during the War in Heaven to be used as a weapon against the Catan. If the Eldar clenched their assholes hard enough, they could even summon these gods into real space to fight with them on the battlefield. However, after the War in Heaven, Cain got bored and paranoid from a prophecy that said the Eldar would bring about his downfall. Hence, Cain entered real space and attempted to genocide the Eldar. Yeah, look, not the smartest guy. Asurian, Cain's brother and the main Eldar god, permanently sealed the Eldar Pantheon from real space, so Cain's genocide would end. This actually ended up contributing to the Eldar's fall and Cain's shattering, as none of the Eldar gods could directly intervene when their followers started fingering cats and cheese grating their bowls. Currently, all the Eldar gods, bar Cain, Isha and Sergorach, are dead, with Cain and Isha not doing so hot themselves. The next non-chaos warp entity involves a bit of confusing lore, but I'll do my best. The Enslavers. They were either created, twisted, or awoken towards the end of the War in Heaven, as a result of the Old Ones abusing the warp in their desperate struggle against the Necrons and Catan. The warp used to be a nice place, where souls would enjoy an afterlife, or if powerful enough, could reincarnate without too much drama. By creating Orcs, Eldar war gods, and other warp-based weapons, combined with the fact that highly psychic races were fighting and dying violently in their trillions, made the warp a bit of a shithole, in which the realms of chaos could slowly begin forming. But before demons were an issue, the Enslavers were the big bads of the warp. A bunch of parasitic insect-like entities that could link with the Psyker's mind and use that mind to open a portal in which more Enslavers could pour through to take over more minds. As the last of the Old One's armies were turtling in fortresses, the Enslaver Plague hit, causing them mass suffering and killing the remaining Old Ones. This drove sentient life to the brink of extinction. It also had the unintended side effect of giving the Necrons the balls to betray their Catan overlords, shattering and imprisoning them, hence officially ending the War in Heaven. The confusing part is how the Enslaver Plague ended and how the Eldar bounced back so well. As far as I've read, the Enslavers weren't beaten, they fucked shit up and then just randomly vanished. The remaining Eldar were then able to recover so quickly that the Necron Empire panicked and went into hibernation, to try wait for the Eldar to eventually fall from grace. Like, what the fuck? There's a missing piece of the puzzle here for sure. But regardless, the Enslavers were the first malicious warp entities that invaded real space.
Looks like
they
a Zerg
occasionally pop up
overlord
in the current setting, with Trazyn the Infinite even having a corpse of one in stasis in his museum. Their motives aren't entirely clear.
Are you sure it's dead?
However, they possess a predatory intelligence and basically just like to fuck shit up. There's a good chance that they were once peaceful creatures in the warp. However, with real space twisting the warp into a nightmarish realm, they had no choice but to try wipe out sentient life, so that the warp would return to the paradise that they once enjoyed. That's my headcanon at least. In a similar vein to the Enslavers, the warp is also home to the Psykenyu? The Psykenyu? Close enough. More or less a Warp Wasp that sought out vulnerable psychers and implanted eggs in their brain, leading to a horrific death.
It's gotta be
they were pretty common during the Age of Strife. Magnus's home planet had been devastated by them, as the people of the planet randomly became psykers. This was cool until millions of Warp Wasps appeared and horrifically killed most of them. When Magnus arrived, he was able to unite his people and genocide the Warp Wasps, allowing his people to reclaim all of Prospero. The Death Watch have also been fighting against them, annihilating them wherever they can. Due to it being difficult for Warp entities to enter real space, combined with the genocide campaigns against them, the Warp Wasps are super rare, but still a huge pain in the ass. They are, after all, 2.5 meters long, which is fucked. Their stingers would be like a sword. Some believe they enter real space via the webway, so they'd go from the warp to the webway, then the webway to real space. They seem very animalistic, following the instinct to reproduce above all else. If enough sentient people believe something to be real, it will eventually materialize in the warp. This is what happened with the greater good entity, which is causing a bit of a crisis within the Tau Empire. See, whilst the Tau have small souls and barely affect the warp, the countless client species in the Empire don't have the same situation. Hence, due to humans being fucking stupid and seeing the greater good as a religion instead of a ethical guideline, they have formed a big Hindu-looking motherfucker in the warp. When the Tau were trying to reverse engineer warp drives, they didn't know about Gellerfields or how shit being in the warp without one is. Hence, when they entered the warp without one, the human crew immediately died horrifically. But the Tau were left unharmed as the warp predators couldn't detect their presence. This greater good entity then saved the Tau ship and delivered it back to real space, creating the Startide Nexus, which was a whole nother issue for the Tau. The Tau that was saved got really fucking angry that their way of life had been twisted into a warp abomination, despite the fact that it did save their lives. Ungrateful pricks. These Tau are known to friendly fire human auxiliaries under their command. Following this logic, there's a good chance that in mankind's history, the Greek, Norse, Egyptian, and other pantheons existed in a minor format before dissolving as mankind moved on from them. After all, there isn't a crazy amount of humans in the Tau Empire, so if a couple billion of them can create this fully realized Tau warp entity, then it's not far-fetched to think Thor was around for a little while. Did you know that the Chaos Gods aren't even the most powerful warp entities in the Immaterium? It's actually Gork and Mork, funnily enough. The only reason why the rest of the warp hasn't been crumped is because the two gods of the Orcs are too busy beating the shit out of each other instead.
Because it wouldn't be fun to fight anybody else. It'd be too easy to beat them.
By the collective Wah of the Orc race. As there are so many Orcs in the galaxy, each of them with a powerful Wah presence, it's no wonder why their gods are so fucking overpowered. You know the Great Rift that is currently tearing the galaxy a new asshole? The Orcs call it Gork's Grin, and they have a point. Whenever their fleet enters it, they seem to always be able to pop out at the spiciest war zones, meaning Gork and Mork are likely able to hijack the Great Rift from Chaos in order to get their green boys to the front of the queue to the warp party. I've already made a video on them, but the warp is also home to non-Chaos demons. These demons being created or empowered by the Emperor of Mankind. Either deliberately or accidentally, it's hard to know for sure. The Sanguinor, the Legion of the Damned, Living Saints, overpowered heroes all that reside in and come from the warp to help mankind in their times of need. The main difference between these heroes and other warp entities is that originally, none of them were from the warp. Saint Celestine was a real flesh and blood person before she died and was brought back as a Giga Chad. Same goes for the Sanguinor, who may not even have died in the first place. The Legion of the Damned follow a similar vibe, able to materialize wherever they are needed and turn the tide of battle. The concept of loyalist demons goes against the Emperor's secular truth. However, since he radiates so much power, and since the Imperium uses that power through faith and prayer, it's not surprising that it's had some interesting effects. There is also the chance that the Emperor has gone fuck it and decided that atheism failed, so he may as well leverage his god powers to make angels and shit. Regardless, I'm a huge fan of loyalist demons, and I'm honestly surprised we don't see more of them, considering there are like a metric fuck ton of people praising the Emperor on the daily. Way more than Chaos has praising their dark gods. So you'd expect some golden shit to plop out here and there. There are so many more warp entities that have nothing to do with Chaos, but unfortunately GW hasn't delved deep enough into them yet. Creatures that are 1,000 times bigger than a starship, warp sharks, anything and everything. 99 out of 100 times when a ship's Gellerfield fails, it's not bloodthirsters or plague bearers that come aboard to kill people. It's one of the countless sextillion types of warp entities that do it. The only times that it is Chaos that does the deed is when they are actively targeting a ship, or the ship is unlucky enough to have Gellerfield issues close enough to the realms of Chaos.
Okay. So, there you go. So, there are, other than Gork and Mork, that's true. I have forgotten about Gork and Mork. Other than that, I didn't think there was anything else. Yeah, but Gork and Mork don't beat the shit out of everything else in Chaos because it wouldn't be any fun. It's too easy to beat them. You know, they were the only thing that ever caught their attention was the arrival of the Tyranids. They realized this was an enemy. This was a real enemy, something that they could really sink their teeth into. So that's actually kind of interesting. All right, hope you guys enjoyed that. I like these little info things about learning about some new stuff, like the Elder Gods and stuff like that. And I had also forgotten about the... I didn't think that they were supposed to be Chaos entities, though. Those things that the Emperor, those beings like Celestine and stuff, that the beings of the Emperor. I didn't know about that. That they were actually considered warp entities. Anyway, I thought the Emperor just created them. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like this video, subscribe, help this channel grow, guys. And we still haven't even moved past 100,000, guys. Come on. I know you're out there, and I know you're watching without being subscribed. It really means a huge lot, guys, if you subscribe. Just click that little button. It means the world to me. I mean, we're trying to get to that 150 by the end of the year. I mean, that would be awesome if we could. And especially a big middle finger to YouTube, because they refused to give me the 100,000 award. Anyway, of course, click on the link to the original. Get down to Major Kill's channel. Like, subscribe over there, too. And I will see you guys next time. Tune in every day for new content. Bye-bye.